You carry a miracle in your pocket every single day, a sliver of glass and metal that acts as a supercomputer, instantly connecting you to any piece of information on the planet. But despite how much we rely on it, this device is practically a black box. Most of us have no idea who actually invented its core technology, how it beams data through the air, or where the physical parts go when they finally die. To understand what you are actually holding, we need to do a conceptual teardown. We have to rip it apart, piece by piece. Because when we physically separate these components, we uncover a stolen legacy, a fierce debate over human biology, and an environmental crisis stretching across the globe. Let's start with the top layer, the microphone. When you speak into your phone, your voice travels as acoustic sound waves. Those waves strike a thin metal disc called a diaphragm, instantly converting your physical voice into a pulsing electrical current that can travel down a mire. If you ask who invented this specific conversion of sound to electricity, the history books will point you to one man, Alexander Graham Bell. But the actual father of this technology is an impoverished Italian immigrant named Antonio Mucci, who called his invention the teletrophano. Mucci developed his prototype decades before Bell. In the 1830s, while working as a stage technician in Florence, he discovered that he could transmit sound through copper wire using electrical impulses to communicate with his colleagues across the massive theater. Mucci eventually moved to New York and continued refining his work, but he lacked the $250 needed for a definitive patent. He sent his models and technical details to the Western Union Telegraph Company for backing. They refused to meet with him, and in 1874 claimed his materials had been mysteriously lost. 2 years later, Bell, who actually shared a laboratory with Mucci, filed his own patent and built a lucrative communications empire. It took over a century for the record to be corrected. In 2002, the United States House of Representatives passed a resolution officially recognizing Mucci's life and achievements, acknowledging him as the rightful inventor of the telephone. The very first piece of the modern smartphone, the foundation of global telecommunications, was built directly on top of an erased immigrant's blueprints. Moving down to the second layer, we find the antenna. This is the component that eliminates the need for a physical copper wire. A microchip takes that electrical signal from the microphone and modulates it, meaning it translates the signal into a specific radio wave pattern. The phone then pushes that radio wave out through the air, completely invisible, until it strikes the nearest cellular lattice tower. Here is where things get biologically complicated. To make this connection, cell phones emit non-ionizing microwave frequencies, generally operating between 900 and 2300 megahertz. Because you hold the device next to your body, these specific frequencies continuously pass straight through human tissue. Currently, international regulating agencies ensure these phones meet specific safety limits, like the standard of 1.6 watts of energy absorbed per kilogram of body weight. But those safety limits are based strictly on thermal effects. They are designed solely to ensure the radiation doesn't literally heat up your flesh. What those standards do not account for are non-thermal effects. There is a fierce, ongoing scientific debate examining how low-level microwave radiation interacts with the plasma membrane of our cells. Researchers have documented evidence suggesting these frequencies trigger the overproduction of reactive oxygen species, a type of free radical that can lead to single- and double-strand DNA damage. Several epidemiological and experimental studies have pointed to troubling physiological outcomes. Researchers have linked this oxidative stress to decreases in male sperm count and motility. Furthermore, because of bone density differences, children absorb significantly more of this radiofrequency energy deep into their developing brains compared to adults. While leading health organizations still debate the definitive long-term links to cancer, the invisible waves that connect us to the internet carry biological questions that are far from resolved. Finally, we reach the chassis and battery. Thanks to rapid technological advancements and intentional planned obsolescence, these components are designed to be discarded. Within a few short years, this entire physical device will be rendered obsolete. This chart shows global e-waste hitting 62 million tons in 2022, projecting 82 million by 2030. Inside these batteries, valuable gold and lithium are permanently fused with toxic lead and mercury. To avoid expensive disposal, Wealthy nations ship this toxic waste to the global south. These destination countries often lack formal recycling infrastructure. The work falls to informal, unregulated operations. To extract tiny amounts of gold and silver, workers physically burn these electronic components in the open air. This process releases toxic dioxin fumes into the lungs of the surrounding community and leaches heavy metals like cadmium straight into the groundwater. It's a cycle of contamination that disproportionately poisons women and children working in the scrapyards. When we put the pieces back together, the smartphone remains an undeniable engineering marvel. It is the tool that defines modern human life. But the cost of that convenience is hidden by design. To fix it, we have to look to industrial solutions like extended producer responsibility, forcing the manufacturers who profit from these devices to adopt circular economy models, designing phones from day one so they can be safely recycled at the end of their life. We hold the entire world in our hands. Now, we have to demand a manufacturing system that ensures this ultimate tool for human connection stops disconnecting us from the health of our bodies and the health of our planet.